It wasn't easy. I'm sure it's different now, but 11 years ago, being a chef, especially if you're a girl wanting to be a chef, people looked down on you so much. This is for people who are not good at anything, and why are you doing this? And it's like, but I'm good at this.
Yeah. There was one thing you wanted for people to understand about what Kolkata is trying to achieve. What would that be?
Of course, the food. Yes, the food is very, very important. But I think as a bigger picture, it's really important that people remember the team. Very important to me that young women who work here learn the confidence. If I can give them even like the smallest shortcut to gain that, that's a big win for me.
Hi, my name's Elijah. I'm here with AN.Told with our next guest, Ahana of Kolkata Social. We're sitting here right now inside one of the beautifully decorated and multifaceted rooms within the restaurant. Behind is a little courtyard which may or may not be opening up soon for something special. And we've got beautiful little features here, murals all around that are very reflective of the core values of the restaurant, being family, food, I guess reiterating the sense of belonging and identity as well, which is what's so important here about Kolkata, which is a nice thing to be able to chat to a chef who's been able to find that identity through her journey, having been ex-Firedoor, Raja, coming from being born in Kolkata. We talk a bit about her time going through the National Institute of Hotel Management in Bombay as well. Yeah, we chat a bit about her experience jumping over from Bombay to Australia, finding her feet and learning and growing most at Firedoor, and then actually jumping on to be her head chef for the first time, and then now being a co-owner at Kolkata Social. It's exciting. Jump on it, listen to it. I only noticed it. I don't know why I had this thought, but the colours of the mural you got behind you.
Yeah.
Me seeing yellow makes me think, and oranges makes me think of mustard.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Probably not intentional.
No, but
I don't know. It's just because I know like Kolkata food is like rice, mustard, saltwater fish.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's interesting how, I don't know why I think of those colours, because the blues of fish.
Yeah. No, I just had a picture of my mom and I gave it to Marlon.
It's so sick.
He just, honestly, sometimes Marlon needs direction, but I'm not kidding. Some of this stuff is pretty crazy, but this one he did in one go, and it's so good. He's really good.
That's really nice. He's Marlon's the artist.
Correct. So he does all the artwork. He does a lot of things for Firedoor, Gilders.
Oh, sick.
So that's
cool.
how I know him.
Yeah.
But he is super lovely. He is just such a nice dude. He will give anything a go. Like the thing on the floor.
He did this?
Yeah, he did that.
Oh, whoa. Is that what? Is
it's
that
just
paint?
it's like a stencil kind of thing.
Oh,
and
wow.
he just like put it on top. And he'd never done this before. And he's like, oh, I'll give it a go. And if it's not.
Cool.
And I don't know, just super. He did our menus, did the little artwork in that thing. A lot of stuff.
That's so sick.
He's amazing and just such a nice person.
Yeah. That's so interesting. But he would have had to have considered the color of the room, I'm assuming.
He came in and he stays in Tamworth, so nowhere close. But he'll come to.
That's a country music town. What was that?
He comes to Sydney a lot, obviously, for work. So he'll pop by, have a look, take some measurements, and he did this on canvas and then cut it up, and he just fit. So
Sorry. I thought that was painted on the wall. That's a canvas.
No, that's a canvas.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, that's like full on concrete. Like.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even noticed.
I know.
Very good.
Yeah. Same with that one. That's canvas as well.
Fuck. Yeah. That's such a smarter way to do it.
Yeah, it is.
Such a smarter way to do it. I should have realized.
Do it at home and then.
Bring it in. That makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense.
But it's good that you need to notice it. I'm sure most people think it's directly on.
Fully. Fully. I did not even question it.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but I didn't even question that. But it's nice that the colors are like tonal,
Yeah.
you know? They've got artworks there's artworks in the other ones, right? Or not?
Yeah, they're just like pictures and stuff in the other one, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is this going to open up as like a little outdoor
We'll
dining?
open up in the, I mean, I don't know about dining. We need to keep our bins in there, but we'll definitely open up during summer. It's just so nice there. And especially when we do events, because this backspace is super lovely for events.
Oh my God, it's so good.
To open it up completely.
But anyway, I wanted to dive into, I mean, we could easily start at Kolkata and eventually we'll kind of go through your whole journey and experience. But since we're here inside Kolkata, the very beautiful lit venue, share to me a bit about the ethos, as in your motive behind wanting to open up Kolkata, a bit about what that means to you in terms of your personal journey, and kind of the circle of life of how we get here before we dive deep into the beginning of everything.
As most chefs, I guess, you want to showcase your food, and I'm Indian. I wanted to highlight that, and it's such an intrinsic part of who I am and the way I cook and everything I've learned, I guess. And after Raja, my mind went to, I guess, the best way to showcase that is to be my most authentic self, and the starting point of that is this. And Bengali food is underrepresented, there is no representation, there's nothing. There's not a lot that people know. Most people don't even, I've had customers come in and say, oh, it says intentional Indian, but you're a Bengali restaurant. And I'm like, yep, West Bengal is in India. And just, there's so much history, right? And food is a way of exploring that. So it just made sense to open a Bengali restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're from Kolkata?
I am, yes.
From Kolkata, yeah. So you grew up there and then spent time in Bombay?
Correct.
Yeah. Is that was for studies?
Studies.
For cookery?
Yeah.
Was that, but I remember it was like Institute of Hospitality.
Yep. So I'm born and brought up in Kolkata and then moved to Mumbai for 3 years for Institute of Hotel Management in Dadar. It truly is an institute. It is, some of the best chefs go there, and I spent some of my best times there. So yeah.
How old were you then when you started that?
18.
Okay.
Yeah.
So straight out of school, pretty much.
Correct.
Yeah. What was the turning point which made you want to be a chef? Because I remember, like, initially I never wanted to be a chef. I wanted to do criminology. I told my parents, told my dad, he was like, that's a shit idea. First and foremost, don't be a chef. So what was that turning point in which you realized this was for you?
I think I've always kind of known. I've really enjoyed cooking forever, since I can remember. My whole family, like my mom, my grandmother, they're really, really good chefs, and hosting was a big part of my family when I was growing up. And I really enjoyed that aspect of, people coming over and you cook for them, and not just cook whatever you want, but also what people like to eat and catering to, their likes and dislikes. And that's such a big part of hospitality. So it's quite nice to think of that. And then it kind of, I don't think too far in the future. I'm very much like, even 6 months ahead is a lot for me. So it kind of just happened organically. I did cookery as an elective for my 9th, 10th, and then same 11th, 12th. And then by that time, I already knew I wouldn't have wasted my time on it if I didn't want to pursue that. It wasn't easy. I'm sure it's different now, but 11 years ago, being a chef, especially if you're a girl wanting to be a chef, people look down on you so much. It's like, what do you mean? And I was really good at school, so pretty much everyone other than my direct family was like, what are you doing? And like, this is for people who are not good at anything, and why are you doing this? And it's like, but I'm good at this. What do you mean? I've had family members call me up and tell me, you're never going to succeed. And I was like,
It's crazy, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Thanks
so
for that.
crazy. It's so crazy.
And when you're 18, it's not an easy thing to hear, but here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
I'm curious about as someone who went to TAFE in Wollongong, Australia, what was the curriculum like of what you were learning in Bombay? I'm wondering if there's similarities, crossovers. Like a lot of what you learn in Wollongong is like really based on French food.
Yeah.
How different is that to what you're learning?
Similar. It is pretty intensive. I think I learned everything there. When I moved here and went to Cordon Bleu, I'm not gonna lie, there wasn't a lot of new information. It was, for me, it was just a revision. And the first year, I guess, it's very much French food, and you're doing your julienne and your macédoine and your brunoise, and you're learning all of those things.
Kind of miss it.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like people should bring that back. It should be a thing that everyone kind of knows now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And then it changed. So second year was more about Indian food, which was so interesting because you learn about, whatever you can fit into a syllabus, about every state. And what was interesting the second year is that you used to cook for the whole campus for like staff meal, I guess. It's like 600 people you're cooking for. And that also teaches you like the quantity. We used to call it quantity kitchen. And it was just such a good experience to have that, to learn how to, take a recipe for 4 people and then translate it to, 600 people. Especially during festival seasons, because we used to have special menus for that. And then I did so after in the third year, you could select whether you wanted to do housekeeping or be front of house, F&B, or in the kitchen, and just the kitchen. And that meant that you had a little bit more intensive learning experience, I guess, and that also fed into working in the industry in Mumbai. Yeah.
Was there a lot of, what's the mentality of the culture at the time towards chefing then? And do you think that much has changed 10 or 11 years on?
I'm sure it has. I hope it has. I mean, at that, like I said, at that point it was very much only people who are not good at studies, I guess. It was like, oh yeah, only that's the only reason you would do hospitality, which is not true at all. Like, I think people who go into hospitality have so much creativity, and education is not linear at all. So just that thought process is insane to me. And then, of course, the aspect of being a female chef in India was quite difficult. It came with, oh, you're a girl, so you can only do bakery and pastry. I did 2 internships in 5-star hotels, one of them international, and I had to go in and make tea for everyone in the morning. That was part of my job description, only because I was a girl. There were 3 other classmates who were guys, and they didn't have to do it. And I didn't see any hot kitchen. I did do 6 months at a restaurant, and they were super lovely. I got to do everything, but I did hear from the chefs there that, oh, you should think about doing pastry. You're very good at it. And I was like, am I good at it? Or is this just you thinking that I should just be not in the hot section, I guess.
I understand why you decided to go work in Australia's hottest kitchen now. Just to spite them.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Like a fuck you. So there's that whole aspect, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I think it's different now. And also at that point, when you finished hospitality, you kind of went to hotels, because there are so many hotels, and India does hotels really, really well.
Yeah.
Like, it's truly exceptional.
Yeah.
And I think now there are more restaurants, which is, I would think, more interesting for chefs who want to express themselves creatively and not just do buffet food or whatever hotels require.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see the change. So I went to this conference for TAFE New South Wales about a year and a half ago, and it was a combination of all these TAFE teachers with chefs in this room, and they were confronted with a problem. The problem was how to convince a younger generation to get into hospitality, because TAFE New South Wales were trying to argue that hospitality is too tough and the standards are too high and the children, the kids, are being bullied and all this sort of stuff. But then the chefs are going to the TAFE saying, you're under-preparing them, you're not teaching them properly, the curriculum hasn't changed, you don't know how to inspire them. Like, TAFEs are not inspiring, at the least. You're not setting them up for the real world, So it's like, both are correct in some way, shape or form, but there's no communication on how to actually, the transition process, And it was really interesting to sit there and get the gauge of going, it's really interesting. Like, how do you inspire the next generation, but then how do you create a menu and run a restaurant that, like how we're talking before, for people that have zero experience can be inspired, which is, I think, a really fun place to be at. So it's interesting to see the transition of our 10 years at least, since we've gone to TAFE to now, and our role and how we can do that. It's really fun. Even just recently, I found myself in a position where it's like, I love working with apprentices, because I'm like, I've been where you are, man. Like, I got your back. I'll teach you everything. You got this. Don't beat yourself up. Even though I beat myself up, I hated it. But it's so cool to be able to go, man, like, we got this. Yeah. You're going to be a machine one day, Yeah. Even if you don't fold your tea towel properly and it looks disgusting, we'll get there, It's so funny. But anyway, so what? So then coming out of the third year of the hotel restaurant management, did you know where you were setting your sights on, or was there a first restaurant in particular that maybe set things in motion out of that?
I mean, I think it was very early on into our third year. I think Australia in general was really invested in getting international students into Australia at that point. So we had people come from Kolkata and talk about the school, and I guess the student visa is kind of the only way you can come here if you want to be here. And for me, there wasn't a place in India where I wanted to work at, where I would feel like myself, or be able to express myself in any way. And I don't know, Australia just at that point was such a distant, utopian kind of hospitality place, and MasterChef Australia is massive in India. I'm sure all over the world, but especially in India. And it just, the kind of produce, the kind of food that was happening, and everything was just so interesting and different and new. I get bored very easily, so having that and that being an option was massive for me. So yeah, I was like, that's where I want to go. So.
And what was it, Sydney you first came to first?
Yeah.
And that was about 12 years ago?
Yeah, 11, just over 11, yeah.
11 years ago, yeah. And coming to Sydney, what was the first steps of finding your feet? Did you come over here with like a goal in mind? Was fine dining like the big dream, or was it just learning from a particular chefs, or was it a cuisine, or like tell me a bit about those first steps?
I mean, because it was so new, I was pretty open to just experiencing hospitality in Sydney. I think within the first couple of months, I started working. I remember we had a really good department at Kolkata who placed students. So I applied immediately, and they were like, "Oh, we'll look after you," and they really did. One of the first places I worked was at Aria Catering, so under the Opera House.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I remember I got the letter being like, "Oh, you got the job, whatever," and I just saw the name Aria, and I knew that it was the same group. And I was like, oh my God, this is such a big deal. And that was honestly a pretty, it was a nice bridging place to work because I had the most amount of experience in hotels and this was catering. So, that mass production. And honestly, the amount of food that went through that tiny, tiny kitchen, pretty insane.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember the first New Year's Eve that we worked there, and Benelong wasn't Benelong then, so we worked in that kitchen. It is vivid in my mind, just being on the balcony and seeing the fireworks.
Oh, really?
And after we were working from 9 in the morning, and just get to see that as the first experience.
That's
of
nice.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It really was. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah, I know a few chefs that started with RE Catering. I know
Yeah.
Fernando Sanchez is now head chef at Opera Bar, started there as well. So it's it's so funny. I hadn't heard about it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, but it's a machine.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole thing's a machine.
Yeah.
So where'd you jump from there after that?
So after that, I did my industry placement at Gazebo Wine Garden. I think it was I don't know what it is now, but it was like a restaurant then. So I was there for a while, even after my placement. It was really good. It was different. It was busy. So again, going from a busy catering venue to a busy restaurant was very different. To learn a lot. I had some really nice people to work with there. I think one of them I'm still in touch with, so that's quite nice. And then after that, I did a very short stint at, I don't know what it is with me and the Potts Point and King's Cross area. It doesn't, I don't know if we have a relationship, but I did a short stint at a restaurant called Saru. It only lasted about a couple of months, I think. And then I joined Firedoor.
Ah, okay. So I see. Yeah, because I was in Potts Point for a long time, from 2017 or something like that, for a long, long time. When were you at Gazebo? Whenabouts is that?
It would have been 2015,
Okay,
I want to
so
say.
before.
Yeah,
before, okay.
A while ago. Yeah.
I was going to say, imagine if we'd bloody met. And then Firedoor, okay. Because I remember Firedoor, how long had that been open by the time you jumped on?
I think over 9 months it would have been.
I was going to say, because for some reason I was thinking it was still quite new. Because I remember Malcolm Greenwood telling me the story of Lennox showing up at his house. Because he'd come from Spain, I think it was, and he was going to open up a restaurant, but went to Malcolm Greenwood's place to get some plates, and Malcolm had no fucking clue who he was. And Lennox was like, "Oh, I want some plates from me. I've heard good things, And he's like, "All right, fucking sure."
Sure.
All right, It was really funny. It was really, really funny. But then it's just so interesting, because being an all-fire restaurant, so interesting how something that has already existed in restaurants around kind of has a fresh idea and energy behind it.
Yeah.
And it was just it was such a perfect timing, perfect place. So jumping on, especially in the first even 9 months when you jumped on, is so exciting because there's so much evolving happening.
Correct.
Even for Lennox, still new for him, So I think that would have been really cool for you to work under, because you're almost picking his brain without asking him questions, because you get to see how he's able to evolve things, Maybe you weren't aware of it then.
No, of course.
But yeah, what was that kind of first experience like, kind of jumping on there and perhaps even looking back? You would have learnt a lot then, but looking back, were there other things on top of that you learnt?
I mean, it was constant, right? Like you said, it was just, you were constantly learning, and it is so difficult to, I think, at least to teach someone how to cook that way.
Yeah.
It is so instinctive, and you either kind of get it or you don't. You either love it or you don't, and I don't think it's something you can force. And I don't know, I feel like you can tell Lennox is just so particular about it's not just, putting a bit of produce on fire and calling it a day. There's so much that goes behind the temperature of the embers, and what wood, and the produce and how it's been prepped and what vessel you're cooking it in. You can talk about it forever, right? So even learning those things, like I was telling you earlier, my first day there, there was this dish. It was stracciatella with radicchio berlotti beans, and then pumpkin, like perfect macedon of pumpkin that we we had to caramelize perfectly over the hearth. But then you had these slices of pumpkin that you had to grill on the grills, and I remember just standing in front of that oven, and I needed more embers, and I was like, I don't know how do I do this? And I had to ask someone, and even that, right? You don't think of it. You're like, oh yeah, there's embers and you cook over it, but just the thought of handling that oven, it is pretty daunting. It is very, very hot, to say the least. And for someone who's never worked in a fine dining restaurant at all, for that to be the first experience is pretty intense. But in the best way. I mean, I was there for a very long time, so
yeah, it's intimidating. But it's one of those things where it's like, I'd absolutely want every chef to work in an all-fire kitchen. Like, if TAFE could spend a year where it's like, you have 2 or 3 months or a month to just work over a type of equipment or type of cook different things over that style, like doing open fire, wood flame, barbecue, everything would be like such a good skill to have. And now a lot of restaurants are integrating, charcoal or whatever into their restaurants more than what we usually would have.
Correct,
now, kitchens are designed with that in mind, which is like great. It's so intimidating, man. Like I remember working just over a weekend to help some friends out in Barrel at a restaurant called Bistro Officina, which is another all wood fire. And that was crazy. Like, they would bake their own sourdoughs inside the wood ovens there, which is a cool thing to see. If you've never seen sourdough baked in wood fire, it's fun as fuck. But then simple things like making a mandarin curd, you'd have to cook over fire. And I was in charge of making this mandarin curd at the restaurant, and I'm like, this is so scary. Like, I am going to fuck this up. You know, like, I can't just manage the heat on low and do it all bain-marie, you know? It's like, you do it all bain-marie over fucking fire with fire raging, you know? And I'm like, this is so scary. But it was cool to get used to and feel comfortable with, but very intimidating.
Right. I think we had a consommé on the menu at one point, and it was pretty crazy.
What was one of the hardest dishes or things you had to prep, but it made it harder because you were only using fire?
I think the immediate thing that comes to mind is there was a point where we used to do like carrot reduction, orange reduction, and we used to like juice it and reduce it. It just takes so much time. And it really, truly used to take forever. Because
you didn't want to burn it.
No,
the
not
sugars
at
are
all.
caramelizing.
Correct. Or like a red pepper reduction. It takes forever, but I mean, it's worth it, right? And like
it's pretty nice.
And I don't know, I'm a believer of this, that maybe not everything has to be super quick.
Totally.
And we get into that mindset because we're working in kitchens that aren't like that. So it's quite nice in retrospect. At that point, it was not nice. Right now, I can sit and be like, there's a way of doing it, and you just have to be more on top of it, I guess. And
I'm curious, as someone who's worked in open kitchens, did working in an open kitchen, whether you'd worked somewhere else before, change also how you cook and how you, I don't want to say the word perform, but I guess how you act as a chef?
Maybe not as a chef. I mean, I guess maybe the correct answer would be that, you're cleaner and you're nicer to people or whatever. But I don't know. Firedoor was my first open kitchen experience, and it's not an easy kitchen, and it's hard because you're doing really good work, and but there was just so much banter. We never shied away from having fun, and it's not, there was no like, it only has to be PG or anything like that. And I think with having the kitchen counter, it's really nice because then people see that, people see the camaraderie and the friendship, and that it's a team, and people buy into that. It's like an immediate thing. People are so happy to see that, and they're happy to be there and be a part of it, even for one sitting. So it's quite lovely. But I do think it changed me as a person. It gives you so much confidence. You have to talk about the food, and of course you have to know everything about the food, which is such a good skill to have in general. But then it also instills so much confidence in yourself to, if someone asks you a question, you can answer it as opposed to just shying away. So, yeah.
Were there ever any moments of pressure that felt like it was kind of buckling you as a chef, where, especially being one of the first restaurants you're starting at, where you are going to grow, but that growth requires like mistakes, requires, all the bad things you can think of that are requiring growth. Were there ever any moments of pressure, or were there ever any moments of that were buckling that kind of stick out in a restaurant?
Many. There are many. I think I guess is a funny one. I remember we did Basque brunch at Firedoor, and obviously we'd started super early, and it was the first one we had. It was the first day. We did it over a month and a half or something, I think, and we were not prepared. The menu was too extensive, and it was 3 sittings for lunch, and it was so intense. And like, I think I was on the pass, and we were just setting up, and Angus, who's at Paulina actually, and both of us were like just scrambling to get things done, and we still had like 10 minutes or something till doors open. And I remember both of us like looked up, and Peter Gilmore's sitting on the counter. We were like, oh my God, and we were not ready at all, and we were just like, okay, I guess we're doing this. And I mean, we got through it, but in that moment, I don't know if he remembers or not, but Angus and I looked at each other, and I was just like, okay, I guess we start now.
Yeah, of anybody to sit right there in front of you while you're crumbling.
Yeah.
Just as he watches you, I hate that. Honestly, it's worse than a food reviewer coming in is when like you have a chef you admire watch you, and you're like, oh, this fucking sucks. Like,
I'm sure he could tell that we were going down. There was no two ways about that. Yeah.
Oh God, it was so funny. I remember having the sous chefs at 11 Madison Park come into this place where I was working, and it was like a chef's table, and they were sitting like right in front of me, and I was like. It was really funny because I think it was when they had done the takeover at Aria, and so they were in Sydney for the 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, and they'd sat in front of me, and thank God they'd probably just worked like a long week, and they just wanted to have a good time.
Yeah.
But seeing them initially, I was just like shitting myself. But then once I was like having conversation and getting to know them, I'm like, okay. I'll get you another martini, I'll get you some food, I could go down, they can have a great time, and I was like, relief. But my God, like, you're just having like other chefs, you admire, you look up to, you're like, why the fuck, man, why of all days you're sitting here, but it's good, like you said, because the Firedoor became that place of huge growth, which is, I'm sure there are plenty of other stories of like mistakes and places you will like probably wanted to quit at different moments because fuck, we've all been through it, But this is like when I was talking before about TAFE New South Wales and chefs, where it's like TAFE are not going to prepare you for, if you do want to take cooking seriously, you're going to have some of the hardest times in your life because you are such a big dreamer. You have big goals. You do want to be good, but that good requires making some tough decisions, making mistakes, like, fuck, I had that restaurant. Caveau was my restaurant where I went from a cafe to fine dining, and I just sunk every day. And I don't know why, I was like, you learn so much in that time. Yeah. Even if you go home with anxiety, because you're like, fuck, I have so much to do tomorrow. Yeah. It's that, but it's not like, oh my God, I'm not going to do this, but then coming out of it, you're like, like I did make a lot of mistakes, but now I know what not to do.
But I think it's important to, in those moments, and maybe that's one of the factors that adds to whether someone pursues this career or not, is having someone who's your head chef or sous chef or whoever in a higher position, who tells you it's okay. I think it's so important. It's another story, but I remember our Paco, something happened with the Paco jet. The ice cream didn't set, and that was like the main dessert. It was like burnt banana ice cream and honeycomb, and it was liquid. There was no coming back from it, like zero. That was just like, and I'm pretty sure it was like my third week or something, and I was like, this is it. I'm gonna get fired. It wasn't even my fault, but I was like, I'm doing this section. This is it.
Yeah.
And I remember, and someone must have told Lennox. He didn't. The pastry used to be at the back, so he would not have known. And I remember he came and he was just like, "It's okay, we can serve ice cream soup." And and I don't even remember what we did not. I don't remember what we did, but maybe one of the other desserts on the menu. But I really needed to hear that at that moment, and I could breathe, and I was like, okay, I still have this job. I can do this. I can come back tomorrow and it'll be fine. But if that hadn't happened in that moment, I think that would have broken me. Yeah.
Especially in that moment when you see the ice cream soup and you're like, how do I even tell someone?
Yeah.
Because this is not good news.
At all. And you can see all the dockets, like everyone on set menu has this dessert. It's like, okay.
Did you end up serving ice cream soup? Or was it
No, I think
else?
we did like a different dessert that was on the menu. I can't remember. We didn't.
Imagine if you serve it and everyone still loves it.
Yeah, I mean, they probably would have. It was really delicious.
Yeah, just a consomme of fucking sugar and
and it's like smoked chocolate ganache, burnt banana, honeycomb. What's not to love? You know?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well then, okay. Well, so then, coming out of Firedoor now, did you know towards Firedoor that, because obviously it was Raja not too long after.
Yeah.
At what point towards the end of Firedoor did you go or re-find your passion for Bengali cuisine or Indian cuisine and go, I want to do this again, you know? I know you were doing pop-ups and stuff towards the end of Firedoor, so much like me when I was doing my pop-ups, that helps you discover what you enjoy cooking outside of work, but what was that for you towards the end of Firedoor? Was something like that happening for you?
I think the first time I truly felt that was during COVID, because we were doing the boxes, that people could take home, and we did an Indian one, and again, it was very difficult to. It was like 120 boxes or something. I did not think it would be that many. And you're doing butter chicken and flatbread and I don't know, like 5 other things, and we still had like a service. We just started opening up, so that was the first time. It just felt, cooking Indian food over fire. It just felt right. It made sense. The food was really delicious, and I don't know, it just did something for me. And then of course I did quite a few pop-ups, and it was also a nice little way to introduce very minor, I guess, Indian flavors in the food at Firedoor. Like, we did the fried curry leaves, or I think there was one version of the Pippi's dish that had like a ginger and lemon dressing going on. So nothing crazy, but it was nice to have that. And Firedoor is always changing. It's always growing, and I think that comes down to the way the restaurant is, but also Lennox. He's we were saying how in the early days he was still learning. He's always learning. I don't think it ever stops with him, which is very inspiring for anyone. But I think I had reached a point at Firedoor where I had learned everything I could have learned at that point. And not to say that I learned everything, but I think it was time. And this offer kind of just came up, and it just made sense to, I mean, I said this before, but I really don't think too far ahead in the future, and I just kind of have a vague idea what I want to do, and just take it on a very much a daily basis and see where it takes me.
Do you feel as though with the food you're cooking now, though, that you rediscovered it later, or was it always a thing you knew you always loved to cook? I guess is what I'm curious, because the follow-up question would be for the chefs still maybe in the first third of their career.
Yeah.
Like for us, we're lucky to have found a cuisine or a style of food we love to do.
Yeah.
Not a lot of chefs, I feel, as though discover that within themselves. So for those that are maybe figuring themselves out in their career and trying to find out what their niche is or what their passion is in terms of food, you know, how did you figure it out for you? Was it really just you look deep within yourself, or you're inspired for what others were around, or what others wanted around you, or, you know, like what are the factors there that I guess kind of motivated you to just go, fuck it. This is genuinely what makes me happy and I want to go for it.
I think part of it is that it just, again, it's just such a big part of my identity.
Totally.
And I don't know, I'm just very proud of it. I'm very proud of being Bengali and Indian, and you know, honestly, you talk to any Indian chef who's in Australia, they'll tell you, I think we just reached a point where we were just sick of looking at butter chicken and naan, and that being and honestly, it is delicious. There's no arguing that, but that is not the only representation, right?
Banh mi for Vietnamese
Correct,
food, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
So it can't be the only way, the only lens through which Indian food is viewed, especially for a country that is that big with that many cultures and that much history. And you know, when you're in a different country and you're trying to forge your way and, you know, build your life, you kind of want a bit of home with you, and you know, if not me, then who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to be cooking one or two things today.
Yep.
What are those two things you're going to cook, and how do you think they are a good reflection maybe of what is a good representation of Bengali cuisine?
So one's a snack, one's a dessert.
Yep.
And so the snack is an egg dalna. That is I think currently the most conceptual dish on the menu. So a dalna is normally, very traditionally, a vegetarian dish has like cubes of vegetables, and you can cook it different ways, but have cumin, onion, ginger cooked down. You can have like spice, not whatever. So we do that base, and we actually had that very traditional version on the first iteration of the menu, and then I wanted to change it. So we have that very cooked down sauce at the bottom, and then my mom loves eggs. It's like one of her like go-to things. So I think it's quite nice to have an egg dish on the menu always. So we have like jammy eggs on top, with a bit of salmon roe and aloo bhaja. Aloo bhaja is like julienne potatoes just fried, and again, that's a very, very Bengali thing. To have dal, rice and aloo bhaja is just a comfort meal. And honestly, I put it on the menu because I wanted to put it on the menu, and I was not sure if people would get it or like it or whatever, and it's such a seller. I don't know what it is, but people, and every guest who comes in, they will like talk about how delicious that dish is. So that's one of them. And then the other one is the patichatta. Again, the dish itself is very, very traditional. It's a crepe. It has coconut and jaggery inside. Coconut and jaggery is such a comforting, sweet, like nostalgic flavor component for, you know, a lot of Asian countries, I guess. And then we do it with the caramelized coconut sauce, so kind of like an anglaise, but without any eggs. Mm-hmm. And then we flambe it with spice rum. Oh, wow. So that's the little drama, little flair. I mean, I don't have a lot of fire here, but I do have a hibachi, and I have a brulee dessert and a flambe. So, you know, slowly just having like elements
Yeah.
of where the food comes from, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Raja opened up, what made this kind of exciting was, at least from my perspective, from an outsider perspective, was to see this kind of change towards approachable Bengali, Indian cuisine from a very, I mean, it sounds terrible, but it's like westernizing it, like the wine bar vibe of the food, which was great. Like that was cool, because it made it very neighborhoody instead of it just being the local Indian restaurant that you get on your Monday, Tuesday. But for the family, it made it go, well, let's go on a Friday night, Saturday night for drinks, get some food, business meetings, dinner. And that was kind of exciting. It was really fucking cool because it's nice to see that point of difference because God knows we're sick of French bistros, like I'm sorry to say it, I'm fucking sick of it. But it was nice to see that change, so that was kind of cool, especially your love-hate relationship with Potts Point, but we're back, just around the corner from the gazebo, so like, and it was very beautiful. It was the neighborhood was great, the setting was great, for all intents and purposes it was beautiful, despite finding a mattress in the roof when you were doing the gutting the place. It was good, so it was, at least from the outsider's perspective, fun.
Yeah.
What I guess was the intention when you were opening up that? Was that the intention of opening up Raja, was to make it a bit more accessible?
Yeah, correct. And not just, accessible, your local takeaway Indian place is accessible, but being accessible with that point of difference, I guess, is what was the idea behind it. And it just, I just wanted to have fun. And I don't know, food back home, there you can have so much creative freedom. It's pretty wild when people here seem more orthodox in their idea of what a certain cuisine should be, I guess. And that was my first experience of a lot of people loving it, but then a group of people being like, oh, this is not Indian food, or it's whitewashed, or whatever. And Indian food is not just spice. I talk about this all the time, but there's just so much nuance and complexity and depth, and there are dishes that are super delicate, especially where I come from. And it's not just the chili spice, but you have the pungency of the mustard, or you have this other thing called chui jhal, kind of similar to horseradish, like that kind of flavor profile. And this is, again, not even talking about Northeast India, where it's completely different because the tribal food there is completely different. It has more like Chinese influences, and because it's so separate from the rest of the country, the kind of produce you get there you don't get anywhere else, and the methods of cookery are completely different. So I just I think doing a restaurant like Raja was a way to open up that world, that there's more to Indian food.
What were some of the biggest challenges that you learned from, that you took to, for example, here in Kolkata, that was a good point of growth?
I think my main takeaway was to be just extremely confident in what you're doing. And that was the first time I was doing my own thing anyway, and it was so different as well. So when people give you feedback, you want to pivot, and because it's the nature of hospitality, right? You want to make people happy, so you want to give them what they want, but at the same time you don't want to compromise on your own values. And that was a constant battle, because not once did I make that compromise, but how far do you take it without selling yourself, I guess. And the restaurant's not there, so I did not. But it's just a funny thing. I think the more sure of the product that you are, the more people enjoy it. and also the people who don't, then that's not for them, and that is okay. So yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting how guests can very quickly pick up on your lack of belief in something when they ask you. Like, even if they ask you, like, oh, what do you think of these two wines? If you give a moment of hesitation, they're going to believe it's not good. But you have to be confident that it's good.
Yeah.
And quite often that confidence gives them the confidence that it's going to be good, and often will be. But the moment you doubt it, when they eat it or drink it, they're going to doubt it and be critical of it. So that's super interesting. Not something you think about, but you're aware of.
Correct.
So yeah, I think it's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And then even, like, for example, like Raja getting a hat, right? That would have been the first hat that you received being a head chef.
Yeah.
I know our chefs like to have this love-hate relationship with hats.
Yeah.
But it still would have been a pretty good kick yourself moment.
100%. I think we were like
I don't know if you were expecting it at all either.
No, not at all. I mean, I think it was definitely a conversation, but it was, I don't know, it didn't feel like, oh my God, yes, we have to get a hat in our first year or whatever it was. It was such a big project on its own. I wasn't even thinking about it, to be very honest. And it was, I think like 3 months in or something. And it was very nice. It was a very nice feeling to, as human beings, we like validation. And not just for myself, but for the team, because, everyone who joined had a lot of faith in what we were doing. So it's quite nice for them to see that recognition and have that recognition, or people who, guests who were coming in because of the hat or the review or the story, and they were very kind words. Like it was a very, very good review. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, it felt
sincere,
correct,
genuine,
yeah.
And it's nice because it's for you when you're stepping out to do something for yourself. It's kind of like a reminder that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Which is when it can sometimes feel like you're doing it alone. It's reassuring.
Yeah.
It feels strange, especially when you're taking that leap to do what you love, and it feels like a risk.
Yeah.
But you're fighting against the odds to have that support or that pat on the back. Is like, oh, it's going to be okay. We'll get this.
Yeah.
Which is very nice. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the leadership that you have and how it can inspire the team.
Yeah.
Just when we're talking about being a good team leader, is nice. Like even when Nina and I with the Emerald Room, we got best bar food from Australian Bar.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite end of the spectrum of the food awards being a bar award thing, but it's like, it's still nice, it's like the team are appreciative. They go, oh wow, they got recognition for something, and I'm like, as we got, bar food, I don't know. But it's like, like I said, it's really more for the team.
It really is.
They appreciate it. They don't understand the value of the awards, but they know that it's valuable,
Correct.
So, which is nice.
Yeah. And I mean, here especially, I have such a young team, and not just in age, but in hospitality years, I guess. So even any write-up that we've had for Kolkata, and we've had a fair few, it's just so lovely and so endearing to see. Like, they'll take pictures and send it to their family, or honestly, just have a team that love this restaurant as much as I love this restaurant. It's a game changer. It is so nice when people care. Yeah.
That's it, huh?
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
it.
Nice.
I think that's the secret sauce.
Seriously, yeah. It's huge, but that's so nice. Like you said before, it's like it's rare to have that, so it is really nice when you do. Transitioning now from Raja to Kolkata. So we're here at Kolkata Social in Newtown. It's more or less an evolvement of what you were doing before, and I guess I don't know, do you feel as though Kolkata is a bit more of a refined, it's exactly what you're after, is it really hitting the nail on the coffin of exactly what it is that you've wanted to do here at Kolkata anyway?
Yeah, I think, yes. I don't think I would be doing this if it wasn't. I think this will be a restaurant that changes a lot. Even, I mean, we've been open for almost 6 months, not quite, and we've had a menu change. And as the team grows, as the restaurant grows, and we become better, it'll change. But I think as long as it's a representation of my culture and heritage, and it's authentic to me, I guess, then yes, then this is the restaurant that I want.
Yeah. You mentioned that it's changing and evolving a lot.
Yeah.
Is it evolving and changing the way you feel maybe Lennox may have evolved Firedoor, or is it changing and evolving in a more personal way?
I mean, I'm sure it was personal for him.
Sure.
I would assume it is. And for me, yeah, definitely, very much. Not just in a way that, I have all the freedom here, right? There's complete autonomy, which is amazing. And, but it's also the team, and the more they grow and learn, the more I can express myself creatively. And I'm happy to be on that journey with them. So it's, I mean, that's what a team does anyway, right?
I'm curious if there was one thing you wanted for people to understand about what Kolkata is trying to achieve, what would that be?
That's difficult because there's so many things, right? Of course, the food. Yes, the food is very, very important for, having Bengali food on the culinary map of Australia. But I think as a bigger picture, especially because it's part of Plated Forward, I think it's really important that people remember the team. I know I'm talking about it a lot, but it is very important to me that the young women who work here learn the confidence and things that took me forever to learn, right? If I can give them even like the smallest shortcut to gain that, I'm good. That's a big win for me. And if they go from this restaurant to a different restaurant and work there, I don't want them to lose that sense of identity. All of them are from different countries, so to have that strong sense of self is something that I really, really try to instill in them while we're working here.
And for the community, for Kolkata sitting within the community of the location and the people outside of industry, hospitality, what is it that you want those people to know about if they're looking at the outside in of why they should come past Kolkata, what it is they will get out of it, what's the fundamental value of how they might understand Kolkata more, for those that maybe haven't heard of it, for example?
I think, honestly, we're a restaurant that's doing really good food and trying to do good for people. And I think that's a pretty good reason for people to come by and have a meal. Yeah. What more would you want?
Yeah. Now, it's important to note, like obviously Raja being the first time head chef, but now Kolkata being different because you're also co-owner now, which is exciting.
Yep.
Heading into the game of not just cooking good food, but being into running the restaurant and co-owning the restaurant. What is that experience like, aside from cooking? What has that been experience, and what are maybe some things that you've learnt from the 6 months so far that when you look back in 10 years ago, such minor things, but God, she's giving it a good go. Well, what are some of these things, or what are some important lessons you've learnt so far in 6 months of business that you would want people to maybe learn from you?
A lot, honestly, because going from that head chef role to a business owner it's a massive jump. It's I don't think anyone can truly prepare you for it. You kind of have to go on this journey and make mistakes and learn things. I think it is very, if you go into it with a partner, I think it's very important to have clarity and have really good communication. That is very, very important. Also doing it with someone who you trust as a person, not just a business partner. I think those are very important things to have from the get-go. And then secondly, I think this would seem very simple, but have a good lawyer and accountant and a checklist. Honestly, they'll do so much of the work for you.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have thought of those as being the first steps, like from a chef perspective, because I would think of the food and the aesthetics of the restaurant and the wine list and the staff, but it's the back end stuff that is so important in a business. It's boring, but if you have the right people doing it, then your life is so much easier. When you have to pay your suppliers and the rent and get your grease trap emptied, otherwise you get fined. Those are the important things. Yeah.
If you could give yourself, we're going to finish up on 2 questions here, but if you could give yourself advice when you first started cooking, whether it be maybe your first experiences in Australia or even back home, what would be some advice you would give your younger self then?
I guess the same advice, the same help that I'm trying to give to the team here is just to, it seems like a life lesson, but if you're true to yourself, it is just so much easier. If you have confidence in the product and because this product is a big part of who I am, so having that confidence in yourself, I think you're good, because no matter what happens, you kind of will get through it.
Yeah. And last one, humorous one.
What do you mean? This has not been a funny interview?
Oh, this is going to hurt, this question. The ice cream soup would have been fantastic, but no, it's the funniest or craziest time you found yourself most in the shit.
Oh.
Please fire any story. It doesn't have to be one if you've got multiple, but of all your time, that would be great.
I think I'm just trying to pick one. Okay, I will say this. I think we had a double at Firedoor, and I was on the hearth. I think it was one of the first. So it was an aga and a grill before, and then it changed to the hearth, and it was like the second month with the hearth, I think. And I was on there by myself, and we'd had a function at lunch. Troy was on the grill, and Lennox was doing the pass, and we were so busy. I think it was like 107 people or something like that. And that's a lot of people for Firedoor. And I remember after the lunch service, double roasting red peppers to, you have to peel them and roast them a second time and making that red pepper reduction. And just thinking, I don't know if I'm going to make dinner service. I don't think I have enough prep or whatever. And it was so busy. It was like John Dory on the menu with roasted fennel with a Pernod reduction or something, and that is honestly, if I say that now, it doesn't sound like Firedoor at all, but it was on the menu with the roasted peppers. And I think there was one point when Lennox was like, what do you need? And I was like, I just need some wood on this fire because I could just see it dying. And I remember that. And I remember Troy and I looked at each other and we were like, I believe in you. And he was like, I believe in you. And the rest of it is pretty much a blur, but it was hectic. Yeah, going from that big a lunch service, not having a lot of prep, and then it's like, oh my God, no, those bloody peppers, honestly.
Those fucking peppers, yeah, there's always one ingredient.
There's always one thing.
All right, I'm going to throw some quick fire questions at you.
Okay.
This is something new and exciting that we have. They're super fun, simple, but they're just nice little conversation starter questions.
Sure.
So they're just something simple. Let's go. Actually, why don't we do a random pick? This is like a deck of cards. Go, you have a pick.
It tells my destiny, does it?
Yeah. You read it and then give us an answer.
Oh, what's one thing you hope to give back?
This is great.
Seems like a very fitting question.
That's a tarot reading for you.
Yeah, I know. it's just one thing. I think in the sense of community, have people feel like they have a seat at the table, and that someone's always there to listen to them and hear their story, and I think that can be a part of my legacy.